Hey everyone, this is Randy Nunez, your host on Between the Chalk Lines podcast, where it's all baseball talk all the time. And today we're having our friend Jared Timms, who knows it all about minor league baseball for Angels, and we're going to cover the Angels, as you can tell. So, we're going to just knock off the first couple things, Rendon, out of the season for the year. Moncada, how is Moncada looking? I hear that he's swinging a bat. Do you know anything else besides that?
I do not know anything else. I appreciate the kind words, nice intro. I know nothing about minor league baseball though. I feel like I do, but every single time I feel like I know something, it's totally wrong, and we'll get into it even more. But with Moncada, yeah, I mean, I we'll see. He's somebody who's been on the IL quite a bit with the White Sox. It would have been nice to see him on the opening day roster. It seems like, it's been hit or miss, but I mean, also I think a week ago we were talking about Luis Renifo not making the opening day roster, and all of a sudden
Yeah,
now he's probably going to make the opening day roster, I would assume. I mean, unless a little setback happens or something like that. Hamstring's always tough, but yeah, I haven't heard too much about Yohan Moncada. Hopefully we see him back in an Angels uniform really, really soon. But again, it's somebody that's missed a lot of time in the past with the White Sox. So yeah, you just never know with those types of guys.
of course. Like a lot of people ask, what is a thumb, bruise? And a lot of people don't know what it feels like to hit a ball going 90 plus with a wooden bat the wrong way. So, just for you, everyone who doesn't know what it feels like, it hurts. And that's how you get a thumb bruise sometimes. Um, Moving on, some of the minor leaguers that we drafted last year have shined this spring. Ryan Johnson, I want to get your take on.
Yeah, I liked Ryan Johnson in the draft. Unfortunately, he's going to always have that Shohei Ohtani tag, a title
Yeah,
attached to him.
yeah.
So everybody's always going to expect the world of him. But I mean, I think that we're just kind of seeing him scratch the surface with what he can do. He was a big arm coming out of Dallas Baptist. It was funky. It was something that scouts were like, well, is he going to be able to start? Is he going to be able, is he going to relieve? Is he going to get injured? Because I mean, we've seen it this season, this spring training, and it's funky. It's definitely funky, but it's a good funk, and I really like it. And I think he's got a chance to stick as a starter down the road. Um, if I were the Angels, I would send him to Rocket City, and let him start there and do his thing. But I am not the Angels, so I don't know what they're going to do. And we're going to talk about it here in a couple minutes about what I think they'll do. But yeah, Ryan Johnson's looked really, really good. He gets outs. He's funky. Like, he's not your prototypical pitcher, but it's a lot of fun, and I hope that we see him in an Angels uniform this year.
You think in the majors later this year?
Um, I don't want to give away your opening day
Okay,
predictions or anything like that, but I think,
that, that's
I mean, if they were calling his name on opening day in Anaheim, it wouldn't surprise me.
okay. All right. Um, what do you think of the Perdomo trade that we just had with the Braves? You
Yeah,
know, that kind of threw off your predictions. And
yeah, yeah. I'm intrigued. I still have yet to get an answer about what the fascination is with lefties. I know there was a few years ago some issues with the Angels struggling to see lefties at home, so maybe that's still the case. I don't know, but yeah, I'm intrigued in Angel Perdomo. Big arm. He's gonna be a mid to upper 90s fastball guy, decent slider, swing him a slider for sure. When you watch him pitch, he kind of looks like Aroldis Chapman a little bit, which is cool. He's not Aroldis Chapman by any means, but he looks like him. So there's that for sure. And he does throw off the predictions because I still think that Garrett McDaniels um deserves a spot. I think that his stuff is major league ready, and I would be ashamed to send him back to the Dodgers. for a lot of reasons. But yeah, Perdomo, interesting trade, especially this late in the in into spring, and somebody that doesn't have any options attached to him either or anything like that. So yeah, I expect him to make the opening day roster.
Yeah, and so let everyone else know we only have one more spring training game left as of this recording. So this is literally the end of spring training, just a wrap up for the Angels. And they haven't done all that great this last couple of weeks. Um, but I want to pick, particular singular people. Newman, Kevin Newman at short. What are you looking there, or what are you seeing?
Yeah, let me backtrack a little. Maybe it's a good thing that they haven't played very well. They're back-to-back Cactus League champions, and they've lost 90 plus games in each of the last 2 years. So maybe losing in the Cactus League is a good sign for the season. I don't know. Kevin Newman. I'm intrigued into him. He's not an everyday starter. Once Zach Neto comes back, I expect him to fill in that David Fletcher type role where hey, you can put him at third, hey, you can put him at short, you can put him anywhere in the infield. You play a little bit of first base, and heck, I think you could probably put him in left field if you needed to as well. So yeah, he's not going to hit a whole lot. He's David Fletcher. You hope for 100 WRC plus and somebody that plays decent defense. He's a good fifth infielder for teams, and I mean he was good at fifth infielder for Arizona last year, and Arizona was almost a playoff team.
Okay, and then speaking of playing outfield, Matthew Lugo. I know you've been raving about this kid, and we got him for 3 months of Luis Garcia from Boston. We got Klassen. We still need to talk about him. We got Lugo, and who else did we get in that trade? I forget
Yeah,
now.
you had Ryan Zefferson, you had
Jefferson, yeah,
Nico Cavadas, and you had Jefferson
Cavadas.
Vargas, who we've seen a little bit down the minors.
Yeah. So Jefferson, want to get your take on Lugo and what we're seeing there. I think he is personally a not everyday outfielder, but he could play outfield in a pinch, definitely.
Yeah, this is one of the best trades that Perry's made. From a pure like you're giving up a reliever for four guys. I know they take up a lot of 40 man space and things like that, but yeah, I mean Matthew Lugo has looked very, very, very good this spring. And it is a shame when he got hurt last year because I think we would have saw him in the big leagues last year a little bit, getting a little bit of time, and I think we'd be talking a little bit different. Um, but yeah, I'm very intrigued. He's going to probably start the season in AAA. He's probably going to go and absolutely rake in AAA. And it wouldn't surprise me if he played a little bit of infield too. He was drafted as a shortstop by the Red Sox, I believe, out of Puerto Rico. So he's a altogether he's a fine player. If he was somebody that um in the future was a fourth outfielder, somebody that a Mickey Moniak, Joe Adell type of guy, I think he ends up hitting better than those guys. So yeah, I'm very intrigued
A
into the
bold
future.
statement.
I think I don't think he has as much power as Joe Adell. I think he's a better pure hitter than both those guys. And if you look at if you look at um, Mickey Moniak's good year, when was that in 2023, I think, where he played like 90 games or something like that, or 60 games, and he was like a he might have been a 320 hitter or something like that. But I think that Matthew Lugo could be a 270 hitter that hits 15 to 20 jacks and plays some good defense for you as a fourth outfielder down the road for you. So we'll see.
All right, and then Zephyr, obviously reliever. Um, he looks pretty good to me as well. Um, what about you?
Yeah, Ron Washington's already said this offseason he's already said he trusts him in high leverage roles. So if he was that guy that got the seventh inning. If you went Zefferson, Ben Joyce, and Kenley Jansen 7, 8, 9, are you upset about that? I mean, I'm not. It's just getting to that point with the lead that I'm worried about. 7, 8, and 9, I think like Zefferson in that spot. Ben Joyce is locked down in my opinion, and you have one of the best closers of all time coming in the ninth. So 7, 8, 9, I'm okay with. It's before that. It's getting to that point and getting there with the lead that I'm a little bit scared about with this team.
Okay, so defense and maybe offense, maybe also. So, speaking of, Mike Trout only needs 22 home runs to reach 400. Is that just mind-boggling or, or what? Like, this guy has been with us for through thick and thin. Like you said, back-to-back 90 plus lost seasons and a decade of losing. How does I can't get into his mindset. Like, how does he just sit there every day and say, "I love being an angel"?
Um, he's somebody who just he loves baseball, and I think from the beginning he wanted to put a stamp on it with I played for the same team my entire career, and I was one of the best players to ever do it for one team in his entire career. And you can't say that about a lot of players. I mean, I think Clayton Kershaw goes down as one of those guys, and there's other guys, right? Jeter and Mantle, Gehrig, those types of guys, Cal Ripken Jr., just off the top of my head that I can think
Yeah.
of that played with one team their entire career. Those guys are few and far between, and Trout goes down as one of the greatest players to do it. I was having a conversation actually early in the offseason with Taylor Blake Ward about it, and he could be approaching. He's not 32 yet, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's what 31, just about to turn. It's about to be his age 32 season. He could, if he was healthy, have five. He could be a 500 home run guy this season at the age of 32, and we'd be talking about him probably breaking the all-time home run record and things like that. I still think he's got a chance to do it, and it's going to be a lot of fun, especially if he can stay healthy. Because I think down the road he turns into Nelson Cruz, which I mean Nelson Cruz
That'd be
was a 40 home
nasty.
run hitter. Yeah, Nelson Cruz was a 40 home run hitter into late into his career, into his 40s. So I mean, if you're getting 40 home runs a year from Trout, you can't guarantee it obviously with the injuries, but if you're getting 35 to 40 home runs a year from Mike Trout up until he's 40, 41, I mean, he's got a chance to break the all-time home run record. And that wasn't even something that, would have probably been remotely serious, when he was coming up. Fun story. I was at his debut as well, so that's really really cool to see. I was also at one of his first games in Arizona after he got drafted too. Him and Randall Grichuk. I have a picture on one of my old phones of the Arizona, not Arizona Fall League, but the Arizona League during the summer, right after they got drafted, and lineups on the board, and then it's Randall Grichuk, I believe, was leading off, and Trout was batting in the two hole, or vice versa. But I did see them in Arizona,
Hmm.
which is really really cool. And then see Mike Trout play his entire career probably with the Angels is definitely going to be special for sure.
Yeah, I have to agree. I've been watching them since the early 2000s, like 2001, right, like right before the championship. And then I saw his first, what was it? His first, I'm blanking now. I had the ticket, it was signed. His first
Home run cycle? Did you go the cycle again?
cycle.
There
Thank
you
you.
go. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a cycle, and it was against the Mariners. I remember because I went with a friend who likes the Mariners, and they were just smashing on them. So yeah, I saw his first cycle. That was really cool. He's had a lot of firsts. Obviously, he's going to have all of them with the Angels. We hope. And then going back to the minors after Lugo, after Zephyrhan, Klassen. What were you thinking about Klassen? Single A, high A?
He, he'll be in Rocket City for sure, and I'm still up in the air on him. I think that if the command comes and he looks like he did in his final start or two in Rocket City last year, he's going to be a top 100 prospect, and if not a top 50 prospect by July. If the command's not there, he's probably still a top 100 prospect. People are going to be questioning if he's a reliever or not, and things like that. So it comes down to the command. The stuff is some of the best, not just in the Angel system. He's got the best stuff in the Angel system. It's some of the best stuff in minor league baseball for sure. So if he can command it, he will be a starter, and he's got the ceiling to be a number two, number three starter at the major league level, Garrett Richards type of guy. Yeah, but
Okay.
if the command doesn't come, it comes and goes and things like that, and he's not 100%. then he's going to be a probably a really good bullpen piece, and the Angels got quite a few of those guys.
Yeah, they do. Um, Speaking of, we saw Renheath, like you said, playing the last few games. He's been looking good. He's got his first hit or two, um, playing good defense across the diamond. Tim Anderson, what are we thinking there?
I think he's gonna make the opening day roster. I mean, he may not have looked good this spring by any means, but he's got some major league experience. It's someone that um he's you give him a chance. You definitely got to give him a chance. Plus, you don't know what the opt-outs are or anything like that. If he's got an opt-out clause right after spring training, if you're able to send
True.
him to yeah, if you're able to send him to AAA, if he even takes that assignment. So there's a lot of what ifs there with Tim Anderson, a former All-Star, by the way.
Hmm.
I think he complements the Angels. I think that and I also think he's played well enough this spring and has a track record to get a spot for sure. I wouldn't have been upset if the Angels would have signed him to a major league deal, and I'd be 100% sure, he's got a roster spot. But yeah, right now, it's a little bit up in the air, but I think he's got a roster spot at the moment over Christian Moore. If Moore would have played a little bit better, like came out and just absolutely raked, I think we were having a little bit of a different conversation. But since he was a little hit or miss, I think you send him to Rocket City for a little while, see how Tim Anderson does, and if Tim Anderson does well, then it's like, oh, we'll see you in July, Christian Moore.
Yeah,
But if not, then you let Tim Anderson go, and Christian Moore's your everyday second baseman in June.
that's fair. And I even saw Tim Anderson play a little bit of outfield in spring, so that's an option for him too. Um, Mike Trout, going back to him, moving to right field and then having Soler, who also played a little bit of right field this spring. Will they kind of just switch, give Trout some rest days, I guess you can say, as a DH? Like, you're thinking that's their plan?
Yeah, yeah. I think if we see Trout in center field for 20 games, I think if we see Trout DH for 40 games, and I think if we see Trout play right field for however many other games that is, I think that's what it is. I don't think we see Soler in the outfield any more than, I think he's going to be a DH for about 100 games. And then I think we see maybe, 40 games of him playing the outfield, maybe a little bit, maybe 120 games as the DH or something like that. He's not a great defensive outfielder by any means. He
No.
can he can stand out there for sure, but
Yeah,
he's not a great defensive outfielder. So I'd like to see him DH a little bit more.
definitely. I agree. I saw him play right field the other day, and he did not look like Adele, who was nominated for a Gold Glove last year. So, and we can definitely see the days where Trout might sit and have Moniak and Adele in the outfield, center and right field, and Soler DH. That's a possibility as well.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, the cool thing with the Angels right now is, um, they have the depth to do it. I mean, we talked about Matthew Lugo earlier this podcast. We didn't even mention a guy like Bryce Teodosio who was with the Angels last year. You mentioned Tim Anderson can play the outfield a little bit. I mentioned Kevin Newman could probably play the outfield in a pinch. I mean, who knows? Christian Moore may play the outfield a little bit. You might be able to put him in left field or right field or something like that. And I didn't even mention a guy like Nelson Rada, who is 21 years old, but I mean, can
Mhm.
also play the outfield and was actually looking pretty good early on in spring training. So,
Yeah, Rada's stock, I think has dropped a little bit, but another year at Rocket City, and we'll see how he does.
yeah,
Uh,
he looked good this spring. He put on some weight. Still looked like he was covering a lot of ground in the outfield. I don't think he lost any speed or anything like that. So, yeah, I'm intrigued to see with what another year of experience does for him in Rocket City. I know everybody gets mad at how the Angels are pushing guys through the system, but I'm okay with it. You know, we've seen David Calabrese is another guy that looks really good in Rocket City that a lot of people forget about. What was a high school draft pick, I believe in 2020. I think he was the Angels' third rounder or something like that out of a high school in Canada. But he's starting to look really good in Rocket City. So some of the guys just take a little bit longer to develop. And 1 year, if they have a bad year for 1 year, it doesn't just mean you push them to the side. It just means, hey, I mean, these guys are young and need a little bit more time. So
Yep. And now for your opening day prediction, what is the roster going to look like? What are from the rotation to bullpen, bench, top to bottom, man?
all right. Well, your catchers are Hoppy and Darno. That's the easy ones, right? I mean,
Yeah.
unless they decide to carry three catchers because Chucky Robinson's still on the roster right now. He hasn't been sent down yet. So unless for some strange reason Chucky Robinson's the third catcher on this team, which I don't see it happening, those are the guys there. Your infielders, Kevin Newman, Nolan Schanuel, Luis Renifo. I already mentioned it. I think that Tim Anderson's earned a spot. Um, I I flip a coin. I I said both JD Davis and Ryan Noda. Um, I think the Angels need a left-handed bat that can come off the bench. Noda might be that guy. And I believe he's still got some options. And then JD Davis, it can play a little bit of first base. Same thing with Noda. You need somebody who can play like once a week at first base, maybe twice a week for Nolan Schanuel. You don't need a backup first baseman. You don't need like Noda on the team to go sit the bench or anything like that. But you definitely need somebody that can play first base competently. So JD Davis or Ryan Noda make a lot of sense there. Kyron Paris is just a coin flip for me, especially after the comments that Ron Washington gave him. I think that he starts in AAA and he's going to go rake there, and everybody's going to be talking about how good he looks there. In the outfield, pretty self-explanatory. I think it's going to be Trout, Ward, Soler, Adele, and Moniak. They're going to probably run with the five-man outfield there with the DH. Your starters, go. It's. I
It
think it's
doesn't have to
easy
be
up
in
until
order. You don't have to give me
it,
one
it's
to
e- it's
five.
easy up
Just
until that fifth spot. It's Kikuchi, Hendricks, Anderson, Soriano, and then I'm gonna give the edge to Reed Detmers right now. That doesn't mean that Jack Hanowitz doesn't make the team. I have him. I think he's gonna start in the bullpen. I think that they both earned a spot, and I think it would be stupid to send either one of them down to AAA or AA or wherever you send them. I just it doesn't make sense to send either one of those guys down at this point, especially with the way that Jack Hanowitz is pitching. I mean, he's
yeah.
earned a spot and you have to figure out what Reed Detmers is for sure. So I think that both those guys get a spot. So that's one of my 8 spots in the bullpen, along with Jansen, Joyce, Burke, Zephyrjan, Perdomo. I'm gonna say Ryan Johnson, and I'm gonna say coin flip. At the moment, it's Quijada, just because he's got major league experience. I don't think that Garrett McDaniels at the
Okay.
moment makes the team, but we'll see. Angels do weird things. I said that on the last Talking Halos podcast. And I got chirped at by Nate and Derek, but I'm said the Angels do weird things, so expect them to do something weird. I don't know what they're gonna do, but they're gonna do something really weird.
Okay. Well, one of the new things that the team has implemented is this no cell phone in the clubhouse rule. That Ron Washington, I want to say, an OC register on is quoted as saying is not a punishment, but he just wanted the players to be more cohesive.
Yeah, yeah, and I think this is a good time to bring up. I really feel like this is why Trevor Bauer hasn't signed a major league deal yet, because you have that huge distraction that he brings with his whole YouTube thing and everything and recording in the clubhouse and things like that. There's a lot of little baseball rules, and those of you who play baseball will understand these that you go by in the clubhouse, and it could be set by the veterans, it could be set by the manager, but there's always little rules that go out there. So I'm surprised this is a rule, but I'm also not. Normally it's like, hey, phones off certain number of hours before the game, things like that. So to see no phones in the clubhouse at all is pretty cool. So we'll see how that works. And I love the Ron Washington philosophy. I think it's great. Little old school approach, but I think that he incorporates enough new school approach in there as well that that Angel's gonna have some success this year.
Yeah, he's hoping that obviously they don't lose another 90 plus games, and they have at least 100. Let's say, man, what are the under over on wins? Would you say 65, 75?
Well, being that they lost 99 games last year, and what was that, 99 and 61, is that what that is?
No,
63? 63.
63.
63.
63.
Yeah, I'd say I mean, if they are a 90 loss team, that puts them at what, 72 wins, right? So I'd go under over
72.
72 wins this year. Because you got to look at it. I mean, did they win? Did they get 9 games better this offseason?
Yeah, that's true. You
You'd
have to
like to
look
hope
at.
so, right? You like to hope so. And for them to be a 500 team, they had to have gotten 20 games, 20 wins better this offseason, which is
Mm,
that's a tough thing for anybody to do, let alone this organization. But if, I
sure.
mean, if a lot of things go right, I mean, if Trout's healthy, if the starting rotation is with their veteran presence pitches well, and we see
Hmm.
the Reed Detmers that we saw for the first 5 starts of 2024 continue to carry over, and we see Kahanowitz throw really well, more guys stay healthy and things like that, and Neto just builds off the season he had, and Hohapi builds off the season he had, then I could see them being close to a 500 team, yes. But I think right now you put them at over under 72 wins, and we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, are there any other minor league angel names that I'm missing that you know of? You have scrolled away in your pocket that you're trying to hide from me.
I have nothing right now. I know some things happening in Tri City, so keep an eye out in Tri City, High A. We'll see some interesting things happen there. But other than that, I know no more than you know.
Okay. As far as international signings, how did we do this past offseason?
I like it. I think that that Brian Parker and his staff are doing a fantastic job internationally with the resources that they have, and I expect them to continue to have good international signings. Now, will that carry over when they come over to the United States and things like that? That's going to be the big question because I've liked what they've done. Ever since a guy like Denzer Guzman was signed, and that was in the Billy Epler era.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I like it. I like what they're doing. The pitching that they're getting are all guys that are probable starters at the next level. It's not somebody that's, a 1 inning, 100 mile an hour guy. These are guys that have decent command for 16, 17, 18 year olds that have one good out pitch and that throw, 90 to 92 miles an hour on a good day. I know there's some guys that throw a little bit harder than that, but yeah, I like what Brian Parker and his staff are doing. They're doing a really good job. And I expect them to be competitive again in the DSL. Those are always fun games to cover for sure. So
All right, great. Well, Jared, thank you again for coming on and covering the Angels with me. Our favorite team. And you say that I know as much as you do on the minor league side, but I honestly don't. I just look at what you post on X, and that's what I know. So,
that's a good place to start. If I'm posting a video on a player, it's usually somebody that I like. I'll tell you that. It's usually somebody that I have high hopes for. So yeah, that's definitely a good start, and I appreciate the kind words, Randy. And anytime you want me on this show, I'm happy to come on and talk a little Angels baseball with you, even if they do kill us.
oh my God,
Even if they do kill us, we can continue to talk Angels baseball. I love it.
definitely. All right, well, have a good night, man.
So yeah.